Welcome to another episode of the FPL Hangover podcast, where we raise the bar and lower the tone, all things FPL related. This week was a time of rebirth and reawakening as a certain wildcard was activated here in the FPL Hangover Hotel. That wasn't the only surprise, however, as a whole host of regular FPL ballers and haulers failed to deliver and in fact pulled out early, leaving their FPL managers a little unloved, unsatisfied and wanting more. Not to fear, folks, up stepped King Mo with another double-digit haul for all those who now worship at the altar of Salah. Now, as one of the most highly owned FPL options in the game, it may come as a bit of a surprise that this week all the spotlight seems to be going towards the new kids on the block. Transfer window closed since we last recorded. And speaking of new kids on the block, please allow me to introduce the Donny Wahlberg of the FPL Hangover, my podcast partner in crime. Seamus, how are you getting on, my friend?
I'm Mark Wahlberg.
No.
Donny Wahlberg.
You're such a Donny Wahlberg.
God damn you.
Yeah. Was this the toughest burn you've had yet?
You always find new ways to offend me.
Yeah. New kids on the block. I was like, there's something I can work with this.
Well, I was like, okay, he's going to call me Mark Wahlberg here, and like, that's not an offence. And I was like, oh,
yeah,
the absolute shade being compared to Donny.
You're clearly the Donny Wahlberg of the FPL Hangover, Seamus. And I could do that every week, but I don't think it's gritty enough.
Well, it was definitely about the new kids on the block for me anyway, because I had a lot of new kids on the block.
You did, yeah. You were the chosen one this week, as I mentioned in the intro. Wildcard activated, Seamus?
Yeah. That is to say it was active for Game Week 25 when we recorded last week.
You didn't even have the decency to mention it last week.
Last week I said I was probably going to take a -4 or possibly a -8. And then when I looked at the changes I wanted to make, it was really going to have to be a -8, and I still wasn't satisfied with how my team looked, so I said, you know what, let's just go wildcard. Full on wildcard here. The more I thought about it, and the more I kind of just got out my pen and piece of pop hair, and I kind of wrote out my team and what way it would look for the next few weeks. I was like, you know what, I'm going to need to do some some surgery on this. Yeah. And I was, I timed it. You know, timing is key in FPL sometimes, and I somehow managed to time it excellently, and I feel like I've kind of gotten on to what the new template is or is going to be.
Well, I'll be honest with you, I thought it was a good enough idea. It kind of reminded me of when I wildcarded at the start of the season. It was like after a good week, you had a really good game week 24, and I just wanted to keep that momentum rolling a little bit, and basically ripped up my defensive line and kind of fixed all the little potholes and niggles in my team, because you really only had the Mane issue that was kind of a fire, but you know, all the little things that were building up, like kind of getting your team in line for the end of the season.
I had like zero cash in the bank, so I couldn't really do anything without taking Mane out. And then if I was taking him out, I really wanted to transfer over to Van Dijk in the back, or at least double Liverpool defence, and just go with Salah going forward, because he's been so good. I think he's got 3 double-digit hauls in his last 5 starts now, including this week just gone. So I'm happy enough to have that one coverage there and just go with the double Liverpool defence, which I think is going to be the way to go forward for the next few weeks. Their fixtures are perfectly lined up for defensive returns. And I also said I wanted to go to double Sheffield United defence. Well, I have double Sheffield United defence, but I didn't feel confident in Lundstrom's position. That's a player we'll talk about this week. I just kind of wanted to get rid of the likes of Williams, who was thinking up my team, Kelly, who looked like he was about to lose his place. He did. Maupay. Like, all these guys actually ended up not playing. So Williams got 0 minutes, Kelly got 0 minutes, Maupay got 0 minutes, Lundstrom came off the bench, he got like 30 minutes, then Donker came on in the 90 plus minute, he got 1 minute. So like, I looked at it there and compared my pre-wildcard team to my post-wildcard team, and I'm better off to the tune of 19 points. So I still would have had a pretty good game week. Would have had like 58 points. Yeah. So I would have actually, you got 50, what?
5.
Minus, that was -4, right?
No, that's 55.
Oh, okay. So, you know, I still would have had an alright week, but yeah.
But the wildcard came good, and I think the vast majority of it, as you kind of alluded to there, was down to your clean sweep, all clean sheets across the board. Goalkeeper, 4 defenders, all clean sheets. Now, before you go bragging about it, I am going to piss on your parade a little bit, it was just 3 teams. There was 2 double defence clean sheets there.
Yep.
So, you know, Sheffield United and Liverpool. What got me, or what surprised me a little bit, was after, like, I saw that you got your whole clean sweep, and I was, you know, going through Twitter, which is the worst thing you should do when you're not happy with how FPL is going. And I was surprised with the amount of people who actually had pretty similar defensive kind of returns. I suppose it's not that crazy to be doubling up on Liverpool or Sheffield United.
Yeah, there's been people who've been doubling up on, you know, one or not too many people doubling up on both recently, I don't think, but there's been a lot of people on double Liverpool defence for a while. And if you had 2 free transfers going into this game week and you had that Mane problem to get rid of, you probably would have been thinking like I was, let's get rid of Mane, let's bring in Robertson or Van Dijk. And people would have got on that if they already had Henderson. A lot of people have Henderson in goals. I've had him. He's been an absolute hero for me in the period I've had him. I think he's had like 3 double-digit returns since I've had him, and they're the only 3 double-digit returns he's had this season. He's kind of doing like what Pope is kind of doing as well.
He is. He's really setting him. I think he's kind of really making people question whether or not he is, you know, going to replace Pickford in the Euros.
Yeah, they're kind of saying that, and from what I've seen, looks great. I mean, I think in the future, like maybe not in the next year or 2, but in the next 4 or 5 years, he may be a real contender for that.
Yeah, I'm happy that he's a United player.
Yeah, I think what they got to do is, I don't think they could take over from De Gea next season, but maybe the season after. So if they kind of loan him out for another season, he could be ready because he's still very young.
Yeah,
it's like, what is he, 21?
They usually sell these guys. So Dean Henderson did come good for yourself this week, and it's kind of on the verge, like we kind of alluded to already again, the Lundstram catastrophe. And I might sound like I'm being a little melodramatic, but when you consider the impact that Lundstram had on the start of the FPL seasons and the name he made for himself as a newcomer to the game, it's kind of sad to see that from what we've, you know, based on what we're seeing, it seems like his time might be up for the starting 11.
Yeah, your time's up.
Time's up.
His time's up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's coming for all of us, isn't it?
It
these
is.
modern times. So I wonder who he offended.
Oh, I don't know. Cancel culture. But no.
You could see it coming a bit. And I think, I mean, even before they signed this new signing, what's this new guy's name again?
I don't know.
I'm completely blanking out. But before that, Besic was in there. Scoring goals, kind of doing things like that. And Lundstram had been out of form, so seeing him dropped, I was like, you know what? This new guy coming in is probably not going to take his spot for a while. And Besic is probably going to be in there for a game or 2. But I think he could be in line for just an off-the-bench option. He was not nailed before the start of the season. We did mention him last week, and that was one of my last transfers I made because I didn't need to make that. Basically, I sold him this week on my wildcard and I got 4.5 back from him, so I just put it straight into Egan.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was kind of going to get onto, is like you did it last week. You made the jump. If you did get in on Lundstram at 4 mil, which quite a lot of FPL managers did, I assume you'd be advocating getting off him. If you were getting 4.5, I think people like myself, I'm getting 4.5 off him if I was to get rid right now.
Yeah, I wasn't sure last week. It was a risk, but everything just seemed to be lining up that he's probably not going to get too much game time. So maybe he's going to get points off the bench, possibly, but you know, he didn't really look too attacking the last few weeks. So I'm just not very convinced.
I'm sure we'll get back to Sheffield United assets as we go along, because they're quite a source of, you know, but they're budget enablers. They're also fucking ahead of Man United in the league. They're, you know, kind of closing in on a Europa League spot. So, I mean, they're always worth talking about. But before we get kind of dragged down into all that stuff, how about you tell me what you actually got last week and what your overall rank is now?
Yeah, okay. 77 points.
That's a pretty good score.
You know, that's 30 above the average. So, game week rank wise, it was 112k. And that's on my total points, 1462 now, which is an overall rank of 69k.
You're up to 69k?
69k. 68.9 something.
That's so fucking crazy.
So like that is up 56k. I almost halved my rank, and this is coming on the back of the previous week where I kind of halved my rank again. So I'm up 190k in 2 weeks.
That's the thing. And I mean, I was getting a lot of slack this week for, you know, kind of you passing me out and not having a great couple of weeks, but as I said, you did it in just 2 weeks.
No.
You know, now you used a wildcard chip, but
Yeah.
I mean, we still have those chips left. There's still a whole lot of twists and turns to be had in this season. So I mean, like, you're essentially walking proof that miracles do happen, McCarthy.
Yeah, I mean, if Liverpool had lost their clean sheet... Okay, I'll just go through my team real quick, actually, because to give it some context. Because last week, our teams were pretty much identical. They had just gone that way. And I just felt like I was on a template that was kind of the old template, and I wasn't very happy with it, even though, like, Salah really saved my ass with the triple captaincy chip the week before, and if it wasn't for that, could have been a poor game week. There wasn't many points in my team other than that. And Salah, look, did save all our asses this week. Anyone who had a bad game week this week pretty much was because they didn't captain Salah, from what I've seen. The only scores I saw that were people in the 40s and stuff like that, because you would have got 32 points from captain Salah. So if you saw a team that had 42 points, you know they didn't captain Salah. They captained Aubameyang or Aguero or something.
The average this week was what, like 47?
Yeah, 47, exactly.
So, I mean, as you said, 32 points just from Salah alone. You're only looking at another, 15 points from 9 or 10 other players.
Yeah, so
you know?
That's where it kind of came down to. It was a bad week to zag when the obvious move was to zig. So I feel bad to see those, because I was actually considering giving my captain's armband to another player because I was on the wild card. I was like, maybe I'll be a bit different. I was like, you know what? The wild card alone itself is being different enough. So I was happy to just keep it on Salah, who I was confident would do well. That
player you're alluding to, Seamus, I assume is the other big decision you had to make with your team.
Yeah, I basically, my last two decisions in the team were, do I swap Lundstrom or keep him for another Sheffield United defender? Or the second decision was, do I keep Vardy, or do I sell him for Aubameyang, or do I sell him for Vardy? And these were the Friday night transfers I made just before any price changes possibly could have happened. I just looked at the stats, I kind of thought about it, and I thought...
So Aubameyang or Aguero?
Yeah, I went to Aguero in the end. And I saw you, not to spoil your reveal, that your transfer last week was Aubameyang.
Spoil away, Seamus, spoil away.
Neither worked out. In fact, only 2 strikers scored goals this weekend.
Yes.
Or at least FPL classified strikers scored in the Premier League this weekend, and neither of them were highly owned. It was the new boy for Aston Villa, Samata, and Glenn Murray, the old boy of the Premier League. So the new boy of the Premier League and the old boy of the Premier League.
2 polar opposites. And as I kind of alluded in the intro, there was a whole host of blanks this week. I mean, as you said, basically just Salah.
Yeah, that's why it was such a low scoring kind of week in general. I mean, the average of 47, you got to think a lot of people have Salah. He would have pulled that up. So
41% of the game have Salah.
And a lot of people would have captained him too. So if he wasn't, if he did nothing this week, the game week average would have been 35, less in its 30s. But he did. So it was a great week for C defensive returns, like you alluded to. Henderson, my goalkeeper, he didn't change. Salah, he was on my team beforehand, captain, 32 points. Kept KDB, I kept Jack Grealish. I kept Ings, but I didn't play him. I benched him.
I saw that.
And the rest of and I kept Trent Alexander-Arnold, who got 6. So my other moves were, I moved on Sion-Shu, who has not been looking great recently. He got 1 point. Improved him to Van Dijk, so now I've got my double Liverpool defence. I said already, I swapped Lundstrom for Egan. He got 6 points. And then my last 2 defensive teams players, I got rid of Williams, who didn't play a minute, and Kelly, whose position was under threat from, Ward, is
Ward,
it? And
who got metaphorically sent off this week.
He did actually. So if he had got sent off, then Kelly owners might have been a bit happier because he could have come in for a while for the next few games.
I'm actually, as a Kelly owner, I'm glad his position is now gone, because it gives me the impetus to actually get off Marston and do something about it. I mean, the likes of Lascelles and even Williams, I know you're kind of bitching about him, but I think for the price he's offering. Actually, no, he didn't play this week, so that's him ruled out. But I mean, up until that match,
and Shaw played well. Shaw's actually looked okay the last game and a half I've seen him.
Yeah, but you don't really want to be touching United with a barge pole, defensively speaking, unless you're getting in there at basement prices.
Yeah. The only reason I'm saying Shaw played well is not that I'm recommending him. It's just that he might. That's the same position as Williams.
Yeah.
But I would recommend the cheapies. Lascelles I went for because he was 4.2 and he had great fixtures coming up. I decided to start him this week ahead of Ings. And just because Ings is playing Liverpool, and sense. Liverpool I was backing them with 2 players. Now Ings tormented them and could have had a penalty, and Allison made a great save from him at one point as well. So Ings really could have like doubly
Southampton
punished me.
played well, Seamus. Like that was the thing. Like at Liverpool for a 4-0 defeat, it's not too often you go, you know what, Southampton weren't that bad.
Yeah.
You know, they actually, especially in the first half, kept Liverpool pretty fucking tame.
Yeah, but Southampton's fixtures from game week 26 onwards now are really good.
Which explains why you kept Ings.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I kept him, and that's the last time I'm going to bench him for the next foreseeable future. I also went for Stevens, the Southampton Stevens. He's only 4.4, mainly because if you look at his fixtures and Newcastle's fixtures, they rotate brilliantly. So if I do decide I want to play 4 at the back instead of playing my fourth midfielder, then I can just go 4-3-3. So yeah, that's Lascelles. I benched Stevens, so I didn't play him this week, which was good because he got a -1. KDB and Grealish, I said, did nothing. I also got Traore. That's where the money came from. Downgrading Manny to Traore freed up a whole wedge of cash. Didn't really want to back I'm happy he was 0-0 in the United game. Didn't really want him to do anything against United. But he's just looked so good against the bigger teams when he's played him. Like he's got hauls against City twice. And you know who's the other team he's called against? Leicester or something like? No, not Leicester.
I think he got an assist against Liverpool there 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, Liverpool. That was it. So he's quite good against these teams, and I think he's improving the whole time. And yes, he's blanked quite a bit and been frustrating for owners earlier in the season, but I think he's just getting more and more consistent. His crossing seems really good now, and I'm happy to back Wolves.
It seems to me, like looking at your team, that you essentially kind of fixed up the little niggles, like in your defence. You kind of you stuck with your Sheffield double defence, but kept swap Lundstrom for a player that you know was going to play now, and you basically kind of went off the whole Vardy train and got on Wolves heavy.
Yeah, and Aguero is the other one, because then I had this like whole wedge of cash, and I could say it was like an extra 2 million. I was like, stick with Vardy and then make Traore somebody like Martial or someone around the 7.5 million mark, but wasn't really fancying United's form, so I said, you know what, let's put on Aguero for a couple of weeks, and he will probably come out in game week 28. Has to be said, since our last recording, we can now confirm that there is a blank in game week 28, so my Sheffield United players, any Arsenal players you have, Man City players and Aston Villa players are all going to blank in that game week. So I'm going to be benching KDB, Grealish, my 2 Sheffield United players, and that was one of the reasons why I didn't make Fleck my 4th or 5th midfielder, because that would have been benching too many players. And Aguero is going to miss out as well, but I'm probably going to sell Aguero that we can get Vardy back. So it was kind of like, do I want to sell him when he could easily score against Chelsea, knowing I'm going to lose like 0.3 in value for him or something like that? Anyway, I decided to make it was worth the decision. Didn't do anything this week, but now they've got a tasty home game against West Ham this week. So that's potential captain.
That's material. The thing. The only thing to be worried about is the same you'd nearly always be worried about with City, and that's pep roulette.
Which is why I'll probably captain Salah.
Yeah. Salah. That's also a bit of a rotation risk this week, but I'm sure we'll get into that later on. But with all that said and done now, Seamus, I think you've read the rights. You've explained your team. What was your highlight for this week?
Just the wildcard decisions. In that, just a big clusterfuck of highlights. It was kind of seeing. Okay, of course. Okay, I also swapped out my sub goalkeeper for McCarthy, but so I wasn't unsurprised to see McGovern not play. He hasn't played all but like one game this season, but to see Kelly benched, Williams benched, Lundstrom benched, Mane benched, Maupay benched, Dendonker benched. What is that? That's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of my starting 11 benched. And
you weren't really expecting that outside of the Mane injury, obviously.
No, I mean, I could have maybe expected Lundstrom maybe not to play. Well, actually, I actually could expect all of them. Like Williams and Kelly, I was like, these are risks. Mane we knew wasn't going to play. If I sold Mane and got somebody else in, maybe I would have lost out on 5 players. I probably would have sold Maupay and Mane this week and gone to Jimenez and Traore, but I didn't really want to go take minus points to go double defense.
So just in general, your whole like wild card worked out. That's your highlight this week.
Yeah, it was just seeing every decision kind of come true. It was like, oh, that player I sold. One of the reasons I play my wild card is I had all these problems, and I've correctly identified these are problems.
Yeah.
And now if I hadn't played my wild card, I would be looking at it going, do I play my wild card this week? I've got like 4 players, 5 players that didn't play last week. Maybe I'll have to take another hit after taking a hit last week.
Traore injured now.
Yeah, but he's like, it's only a dislocated shoulder. He's expected to be fine.
Yeah.
Because the man is an absolute beast. That's what Nuno said. He said, it's a dislocated shoulder. He'll be fine.
If I've learned anything from films, Seamus, is that dislocated shoulders are more of an inconvenience than an injury.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, they're probably more of an injury than the coronavirus or something like that.
Yeah, that'll definitely keep you out. And good news is Igalo has been tested for that and doesn't have it. So I'm happy. That's, I'd say that
I imagine anyone who's coming from China probably...
You can imagine what that had to do for the templates of the documents that players have to sign, the official transfer documents. It's like, oh man, we don't have a box for coronavirus. We're going to have to re-fucking formulate this whole goddamn sheet.
Yeah, well, that's some...
It's worth it, goddammit. Bring Igalo in.
That's just a bit of red tape.
What do you think of that, though? 6.5. I'm sure we'll get to it later on. I think there's a question about it. But...
I'm not interested in spending 6.5 on a sub player for Man United.
When
it's not going to start.
You remember the season that he, lit the FPL on fire. I think, what was it, 5 million for Watford, 5.5 for Watford?
Yeah, it was good.
But for context, again, as a Watford fucking striker, you weren't expecting him to bang in the goals he was doing.
Yeah.
Did you ever expect that you'd now have an option to get him in your Man United FPL team? Or as Man United asset for your FPL team?
No, and kind of talking about it's kind of upsetting me a bit.
Okay, well, I'll move on to something that should cheer you up, and that's my FPL score for this game week 25.
Yeah, yours wasn't too bad.
It wasn't as bad. Yeah, no. I mean, sitting...
I don't even know if it's red or green territory.
Sitting next to you, you do know. It's red fucking territory. I got 55 points, -4, so 51. And that's all. I mean, it wasn't as bad, as I said. Like, sitting next to you with all this, like, having my rank this, having my rank that, it's easy to kind of like go, oh, this has all gone to shit. Because not only you doing well, but I'm falling down in the mini league as well with other fucking people. And it's like, fuck. But I actually only dropped 100k since the man injury, like including game week 24, 25. I've dropped from just outside the 200k to just outside 300k. And I'm like, you know what? That is not that fucking big of a deal in terms of... I felt like I dropped. Not. I doubled my rank. And I felt like I'm down to fucking 500,000 again. So all in all, not a great game week, but not a fucking terrible one. As you said, Salah really bailed me out. I think he was pretty much the only return I had in my team. I can't remember any right now. Just off the top, like between Vardy, fucking...
Just Trent probably, was it?
Yeah, Liverpool clean sheet. But I think, the Liverpool clean sheet, basically just Liverpool in general saving my ass this week. Not a whole lot of ones and zeros. I suppose I should be happy about that. But my low light this week was, again, something to cheer you up, James, because I know you're down in the dumps, 77 points. Like, what kind of a week is that? But my low light this week was... It was hard to choose. There was quite a few, but I think just the man that I seem to mention every week, Diego Rico, he had to go and lose his clean sheet, which was a bit of a sickener. Like once Saturday kicked off, Kelly and Lundstrom both hadn't started, so I was going, all right, the chances of me getting Rico on here are pretty high. I did fancy Lundstrom to come on for 15-20 minutes. He hasn't played in like 2 weeks, so I was going like he'll probably get some minutes, but unless, something like a red card happens Joel Ward, then I can't imagine Kelly coming on. And yeah, Kelly didn't. He stayed on the bench, and Rico had to go off and then lose his clean sheet. To another piece of shit fucking goal as well. For that Samata guy. And it wasn't even Grealish. It was like, for fuck's sake. So,
every week with you, man, it's Rico or Cantwell. One of these guys giving you pains.
It's always the little fish.
Yeah.
The little fish fucking nipping at my goddamn... Yeah. Bunions.
That being said, like I only saw the highlights of that Aston Villa Bournemouth game.
You called yourself an FPL manager?
I was working, but I watched Match of the Day, and again, maybe he's just a Match of the Day highlights player, but Jack Grealish just looked amazing.
No, I think it's a bit above Match of the Day because any journalist, sports journalist I'm reading or listening to at the moment are all singing his praises, talking about how great Jack Grealish is, and I mean. I obviously am the same as you. See probably more highlights of Villa than I do actual matches. But anytime you see him, he looks like he's putting in a shift.
Yeah, I've actually watched enough Villa games this year. I watched both legs of the Leicester cup tie games. I've seen a couple of.
Did you watch his hair get ruffled?
I just wanted to ruffle his hair and go, God,
Did you
Jack.
see the video after the match when he's doing the interview and
No.
two of the lads come up and grab his hair when he's chatting to whoever he has?
No.
And he gives him a fucking death stare.
Do you know how long it took me to get this hair perfect?
Took me 20 to 25 minutes.
I do think he should stop wearing mascara. It looks like he wears mascara.
I think you should just definitely stop all of it. Like, the hair is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, but that's just young folks' hair these days.
Yeah, maybe we're getting old. I mean, that New Kids in the Block reference at the start of the show was... I was thinking to myself... Like, I did a dry run on herself indoors, and she didn't know who New Kids in the Block was, or Danny Wahlberg. And I had to sit down and go, am I going to keep this in the intro? Like, is anyone going to get a New Kids on the Block reference? And then I thought, man, nah, just accept it.
The young kids aren't listening to this podcast. The cool kids are.
I think this is
They're off
the
playing
stage of the
Xbox
season where the young
with their
kids...
Pokemon.
With their damn Pokemon and their fancy haircuts. But I think this stage of the season, I'd say if you were to do a quick census of the average age of FPL managers after Christmas, it probably fucking doubles in size. It doubles, just kind of... All the young kids are off having a life.
It's just
not waking up on Saturday mornings to check their FPL team.
Yeah, the old wise heads like ourselves.
That's a nice way of putting it. But yeah, that was my low light. What was your highlight? Or you said your
my
wildcard
highlight. My highlight was just my wildcard decisions coming
Just
in.
your wildcard.
But my low light was definitely selling Lundstrom.
Why?
You know,
I just
felt bad.
Yeah,
it was just kind of felt like the end, and I thought about it, and I was like, do I really want to? Maybe I just keep him in there, and if he doesn't start this week, I get rid of him. But I said, no, just do it, man. I just kind of was pragmatic about it, and I was like,
pragmatic is one word. I would use the word heartless and cold.
Yeah,
That's two words, but I'll use them both.
But that was. I do have a heart. I can admit. I did feel bad about it. That was my low light. There was no joy seeing him benched again. I just can see that this is the way it's going to be going, and the next few weeks he's going to have a mass exodus, I feel, and you know what? Yeah.
Well, that's FPL, folks. I think we were talking before we hit the record button, and I was kind of alluding to how sad it's going to be because like right now we're in an era of FPL where we're seeing coverage that we haven't seen. Like, we're doing this 13 years, and this coverage is literally 24 months to 12 months old. Do you know, like, we got this season and last season you had like the official FPL kind of cracking on it. So what we're seeing now, obviously, with this kind of influx of money and advertising, is real football players connecting with FPL, and you're seeing the likes of Lundstrom kind of recognize that he's a bit of a cult hero at the moment this season. So I was saying, like, it's going to be weird when we see how the collapse, because we're a fickle folk. Like, FPL, the F stands for fucking fickle. Do you know? So I'm just interested to see when some fucking real player just freaks out and just starts giving the FPL community a load of
we've
shit.
seen that before. Like, you've seen Sterling engaging and tweeting his followers saying, I can't score a hat-trick.
Yeah, but that's all in good jest. What about when someone throws a flare at him? You know?
Well, I don't think that's into a fantasy football. I think that's just going to be rowdy Premier League. I think the Premier League crowds have always had, that kind of in their locker. So I don't think you can blame fancy football for that.
Yeah.
But remember James Maddison scored a goal and got like max bonus there like over Christmas.
Must have been a while back, yeah.
Yeah, it was a while back. And he said something along the lines of, that's for all my fancy managers who sold me this week.
Yeah.
And it was like, I think he was playing Aston Villa or someone crap anyway. Someone with a bad defence. And he was like, no one was selling you ahead of fucking Aston Villa at home.
They're just trying to jump on it. It's weird though. It's like
they recognize it.
Hyper real in the sense that it's a fantasy game that's now a layer on top of a real game.
It's going to go the way of like American football and American sports over there, where they'll have the stats of the game when they're talking about it on NBC or MSNBC, but on Sky Sports or BT, and then they'll also have like their fantasy stats, points on their yellow ticker on the bottom or stuff like that, or they'll be talking about people's expected goals. That's all coming. That's all. It's 3 seasons away.
It's a bit of a tangent, but like, are you looking forward to that, or do you think that's kind of the demise?
Yeah, no, of course. I'm a big fantasy football nerd, so if I can see all that while it's coming, I don't like things obstructing on my screen, but like if you can see it at like half time or at full time when they're match of the day when they're showing the results, I'm all for that.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I mean, it definitely isn't something that can't be kind of stepped a little bit away from if it becomes too I don't know, like kind of overruling. I mean, you know yourself, another game will just pop up, another fantasy Premier League game that might be the official one will just go, oh look, here's the exact same thing, but we're calling it something different because you don't have rights to this player's fucking name.
Oh yeah, it could turn into a whole Pro Evo versus FIFA.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying, and that will happen for sure. If there's money to be made, you'll see a competition sprout up. You already have the Sky Fantasy Football. I know it's different, and I'm not really kind of, but it was Sky's answer to the official Fantasy Premier League. You know, so you're going to have a competition, and I'm with you. I suppose I kind of look forward to seeing what that does to the landscape. But before we move on, my low light of the week, Seamus, you kind of touched on this as well. You got rid of Maupay. I also got rid of Maupay, so my transfers this week I took a hit, -4, mainly due to the Mane injury, and I didn't want to be kind of sitting on my resting on my laurels. So I took Mane out, brought in Martial, and I took out Maupay and brought in Aubameyang. And yep, neither did anything. But Maupay didn't start, so I instantly felt like my transfer, the -4, was already lessened, and
it was justified.
It was, yeah, I wouldn't say justified because I kind of turned out I'm a point less, kind of a point down from what I would have been if I hadn't went -4. But whatever, how was I to know that? But I knew then from the Saturday, I was like, at least I don't feel too bad because 3-3 Brighton West Ham. I mean, I kind of checked that after the match, and I was like, "Oh man, this is Maupay's hat trick, I know it." Do you know that kind of way? I was like, "Yeah, of course, Maupay's fucking done loads," and he didn't have it. He didn't start, he didn't do anything. I was like, "Okay."
Didn't come off the bench.
Yeah, I'm very surprised at that, and I'm just going, "Yeah, okay." I actually feel pretty okay now that I took him out because I'd want him out now if I didn't want him out last
that
week.
would be an immediate transfer you'd want to make now. So there's going to be people listening to this who are hurting with owning Maupay, and they're going to be like, "What do I do?" And yeah, sell him. That's what I would recommend.
Brighton have like Watford, Sheffield United, Crystal Palace and Wolves in the next 4. Following that is Arsenal. Not a terrible run, but yeah, as you said, Seamus, if I was still on Maupay, straight away I'm trying to get him out of my team. I'm going, no, he's not an option. And it's a bit of a sickener, but yeah, that was I didn't have a whole lot of high points to choose from, so yeah, I'm definitely
I could have said my low point was Aguero blanking. Because he had how he didn't score in that Spurs game, I don't know.
I like that you went with the
I was more sad about that because I mean at that stage anything Aguero did was just icing on the cake.
Fuck that.
That was
did you see the first half? Like Aguero could have had 2 goals.
Oh, that's what I mean. I mean, okay, he won the penalty. He should have at least had an assist if fucking Man City could actually score a penalty. He scored 3 penalties this season.
Yeah.
Why isn't he taking their penalties? Everyone else is missing penalties.
Well, who took that penalty?
Gundogan. Now, in fairness, he's pretty good. I never see him miss. I think that's the first time when he's missed in the Premier League. But my God, that would have been an assist. And yeah, then once they go 1-0 up, it could have been anything. And you see, there was another one he missed where he was like right next to the post and he hit it to the side netting.
Yeah, no, I did.
There was a few of them like that. He could have had 2 goals.
City
he hit the post.
Yeah. City should have put that game to bed in the first half without a shadow of a doubt. I think it was like something like 48 shots. City had
he did no way.
Yeah, 48-6.
No way.
And Spurs had 40. Yeah, I guarantee you. You can look it up. I'll do a bit.
Oh my God,
really? I'll do a bit of vamping, but yeah,
I'll trust you. Okay, no, I'll still look it up.
I will probably look it up before the end of the episode, but I'm pretty sure it's like 48 is what I was listening to the shots that they had in that match.
Hence
why Mourinho was laughing that they won the fucking thing.
I'm not sure they would have had that many shots. I know the XG was like pretty much. The XG was like 3-0 almost because like they scored with like what do we call them? Spurs scored with 2 low percentage chances. Now their first goal from Bergwijn, he scored a cracker of a goal, and Son scored a good goal as well. But they were kind of from distant edge of the box, and they were.
You wouldn't give like Ederson much shit for the goals that went in. That's what I would say.
No, they were taken well. But like as I said, I think Man City their expected goals that game was like about 3 or something like that. You definitely would have expected them to score.
Yeah, it's one of those rare ones where the team with the higher XG actually lost the fucking match.
Yeah, once the red card happened in like the 60th minute, I was looking at it kind of going, well, it was because you could see that there were Aguero was the planned substitute to come off at that stage, and then a minute later they actually scored the goal. And I was like, hey, they conceded now, so he's probably not going to take off Aguero because Sterling there was lucky not to get sent off, and he was already on a yellow. He got sent off again. Yeah, it was. Yeah, where are you going with your 48? I'm just looking at the stats here. They had 3 shots on target and 6 off. Miles off.
No, I think it was 48, James. I'm pretty sure they had 48.
I don't think any team has ever had 48.
I was counting them as I was watching the match. And it was at least 48 shots.
Okay, well...
48 to 6.
Okay, well...
Is my guess on that.
I think actually Spurs only had like 2 shots on target. Or 3, maybe 3. They might have had one afterwards. But
no,
yeah,
again,
it was a smash and grab.
I was
the red card made
counting
the difference.
the shots as I watched the match. Actually, I'll tell you this. I watched pretty much that whole match. I missed 15 minutes after the second half. Did not know a penalty was missed until this morning. When I was fucking reading, and I just was like talking about Gundogan missing the penalty, and I was going, "What the fuck are they talking about?"
Did you not see that whole 5 minute? That was a crazy 5 minutes.
Was that after the second half?
No, that was first half.
No, I must have missed it.
So like,
you don't have to explain it.
No, but you missed the whole thing. So basically, what's his name? Aurier dove in, fouled Aguero. No penalty given, even though it looked kind of like it was a blatant one. It was a stupid one to dive in for. They went up the edge of the pitch. Aguero was on the ground for ages. It took a whole 2 minutes. Like, so much time had gone by. 2 whole minutes had gone by before the ref just went, oh, something in my ear. Oh, penalty. Gave the penalty. They went back down, took the penalty. Gundogan missed it. Lloris pushed out to the side, but he spilled it. So Sterling went dashing in.
Yeah.
And then Lloris came flying out, took him down. Then there was another VAR check to see, is that a penalty or not? Because he didn't give the penalty. Then there was like no penalty, and then Sterling, who'd already been just avoided getting a potential red card earlier in the game, could potentially have gotten a yellow card for diving.
Yeah,
but he didn't give him a yellow card for diving. He went back and he gave a yellow card to Zinchenko and Vertonghen Alderweireld for fighting. So it was like a crazy 5 minutes. It was brilliant. I loved it.
See, this is what happens.
Shit for football, but great for drama.
This is what happens when you don't listen or don't watch matches with the audio on. I'm just watching them in silence, you see, so I don't listen to what the commentators are talking about. So if I don't see it, it never happened. Yeah. But I wish that was the way it was with FPL.
Yeah, it was a great game from just a neutral's point of view, because I just was like, just score goals, Sergio or Kevin. So
Kevin, or Sergio, you would have taken either. I almost didn't want Kevin to do anything just because I didn't want to see you just having a mate. I was like, fuck off. If he gets 20 points here, he's going to get like 100. I was like, no, just end it all. Just pull the plug. Just, end the fucking game.
Yeah.
But I think that's enough flipping and flapping about our fucking teams. I think it is time, ladies and gents, for the drunk tank.
All right, straight into the drunk tank. We have a few questions this week. We'll start with Tom Moriarty's question. Tom, a man he's always good for a question. He usually throws in a question. And he's got a Soyuncu and a Lundstram dilemma. Okay. He said, look, Soyuncu's not returning points recently, although the fixtures are turning shortly for Leicester. Lundstram's been dropped and could be destined for 1 point cameos off the bench going forward. He also blanks in game week 28. Should he sell one or both, or keep faith and be patient with them?
Yeah, I think we kind of touched on the whole Lundstram side of things there a while ago. We're both of the opinion that it's essentially time to get off the Lundstram kind of train. I mean, I bought him at 4 mil, so I'm in no massive rush, but he's taken up a spot in my team that I think I can fill with a better 4.5 option, and I'm looking straight at Newcastle. So that's to be straight with the Lundstram thing. I think we've touched on that. But Soyuncu is someone we've kind of neglected a little bit. And yeah, I suppose it's not a massive surprise that Leicester hasn't been the focal point of our conversations for the last few weeks, considering how much their returns have dried up.
Yeah,
but
I mean, subpar.
So subpar. And I think, maybe you wouldn't have been expecting a clean sheet against Chelsea this week. I know I wasn't. I rested Soyuncu. Something I nearly forgot, by the way. I was looking at my team on Saturday morning and I was
you benched him?
I benched Soyuncu, yeah. Because I wanted to play.
He came on for you, though, did he?
No, I don't think he did. It was between, I can't remember, I think it like Alexander-Arnold, Kelly and Lundstram played. And Kelly again got swapped for Rico. But basically, I was looking and I was going, why the fuck am I playing Soyuncu? I was like, I actually don't think Leicester are going to keep a clean sheet here. And swapped him for Ings. That was my decision. It was like, do I go Leicester clean sheet or fancy Liverpool nicking or Southampton nicking a goal at Liverpool?
I'd rather back Ings than Soyuncu.
Yeah, that was my logic, and that was something I was just I was so focused on the Mane, what the fuck I do with Mane, I wasn't even looking at my team, and it was literally 25 past 11 when I went, no, whoa, that's not the full 11 I want. But I'm kind of digressing there, but yeah, Soyuncu is a bit of a problem. Like, you got rid of him last week?
Yeah, I got rid of him. It seems like so long ago. Remember when he was like getting points and he was all stuck to our bench? He was getting a goal. He was getting a goal. Then he was getting a couple of clean sheets and
I
things
wouldn't
like
go
that.
too far with the fucking goal. Was he got like one goal this year? Maybe two?
That was his only goal, but it was like
Yeah.
he got a goal and he got bonus, and then the following week he got a clean sheet and he got like 3 bonus as well.
Yeah.
And he was sitting on our benches with 8 and 9 points and things like
remember.
that. I think was he on our bench one week with like 14 points or something like that?
I don't want to get too bogged down in the member berries, but he was definitely like super great value.
And
for
then we
4.5.
then we all started him for like the next 6 game weeks in a row. And he got 1 clean sheet, and he got
got a
2
few,
clean
yeah.
sheets, and he got a couple of bonus. He got 8 points only recently enough, and it was like, oh yeah, good. But then he's been so. Then the last 3 or 4 games, Leicester themselves are just look really poor.
100%. It is Leicester. It's not him. Like, it's not just an individual issue, because he's actually pretty good.
His own
young.
performance. Yeah, but his own performances have dipped recently. Johnny Evans looks like the better defender in that team at the minute. And
Johnny Evans has always looked like a better defender.
Yeah. But he's also looked way more threatening on set pieces. Johnny Evans, every time I watch Match of the Day, is whizzing a header like straight past the post, or keepers pulling off a worldly save, and he's had goals disallowed recently and stuff like that. So
I like to imagine a Turner and Hooch situation. Yeah, where
who's Turner, who's Hooch?
well, Johnny Evans is clearly Tom Hanks, and
he looks more Colin Hanks than Tom Hanks, but I get it.
He does look a bit more Colin Hanks, but I just kind of think he's this young pup. Soyuncu's this young pup. He doesn't really play by the rules. He plays by his own rules. Doggy rules. And yeah, and Johnny Evans is keeping him in line. So that's the little dynamic I like to watch. Yeah. But in terms of FPL options,
their fixtures are improving, as said there, and they do play in game week 28.
A nice away match against Norwich.
Yeah, I don't really want them for the next 2. And maybe they'll do better from game week 28 onwards. There was a worry when I was selling him on my wild card. I was like, I don't want this. He's been doing terrible. But Leicester are that sort of team. As soon as you sell their players, because you're like, okay, Maddison or whoever's not doing well, they will go on a spell or a streak. So sometimes you have to be patient with them, and you have paid very little for them. I think it's worth getting rid of on a wild card. I wouldn't prioritize it. I think Lundstrom's.
I'd focus on Lundstrom.
I think it's time to go. I've already nailed my colours to the mast. I've sold both Toms, so I think they're both good to drop. But it does depend on who else in your team. Like, if you've got bigger problems in your team, focus on those. Like, I would nearly say focus on getting rid of Maupay or someone like that than either of these.
Yeah, Maupay, yeah. There's a few. Maybe it's wildcard time.
But I went Lundstrom to Egan, and I think that's a fine swap. I mean, I was thinking of going Stevens, the left back, for 5.1, but even though he looks much more threatening, he hasn't really returned a whole lot.
Stats wise, it's not. It's not looking too much in the difference between the two.
Yeah.
Do you get me?
Yeah. Well, look, Egan's getting his head on corners. I don't expect him to score. If they get a clean sheet, I want him to get 6. Henderson is where I want to get my Sheffield United points, because he seems to get save points and bonus and stuff. So
yeah. Lundstrom had the benefit of being that out of position 4 million option. But that was before we even knew what Sheffield United were capable of. Now we know they're, essentially this year's Crystal Palace, in the sense of they could keep a fucking clean sheet here no matter who they're playing. So they're pretty tight.
And they can nick a goal.
And they can nick a goal and then keep a 1-0 lead. So,
but they ain't banging 3 or 4 goals in.
No, so that's why I'm not looking at attacking options. But if I had a Lundstrom, I wouldn't have any issues with just swapping him out, as you said, for an Egan or Stevens or whatever way you wanted to do it. I think fate in Sheffield United's defence is not something to be sniffed at, but Lundstrom, unfortunately, is not the most viable route in there.
Yeah, I would have faith with other players. I don't think you need to have faith with these 4 million players, because they, generally speaking, apart from Wan-Bissaka last year, who was consistent throughout, they usually are only like half-season wonders and stuff like that. You never normally get someone who's 4.0 or 4.5 or something like that in midfield who's going to be that exceptional value throughout the season. So I don't think you need to kind of... You were saying last week you thought he was going to be season keeper.
Lundstrom, I mean...
Yeah, but you must be revising that now. I
can still justify my 4 million just sitting there and never moving it. But I mean, if it's the stage at I don't want... I always want to have one kind of throughout the season guy in my team. But I'm not going to fucking choose that over FPL points.
But if that's your own... Like, I've got 2 Sheffield United defenders, and I think I'm very happy to play double Sheffield United for the next upcoming games. Like, let's have a look at their fixtures here. Bournemouth at home, Brighton at home, then a blank, and then Norwich at home and Newcastle away. I mean...
Yeah, no, they're fucking
If he's your only Sheffield United player,
yeah,
and he's only getting 1 point in those games, would you not at least like to go to another Sheffield United player and at least get your 6 points?
See, I have the wonderful dilemma, like not unsimilar to or dissimilar to Tom's question there. He's got Soyuncu, Lundstrom. I have Soyuncu, Lundstrom, Kelly, and Rico. So my defense is fucking bare bones right now. So I'm happy. That's what I mean in terms of I can leave Lundstrom there another week or two and maybe deal with Kelly. He's my priority to kind of sort out first because I have 4.4 and I can change that to Newcastle right now. And as I said, we already discussed after the Arsenal fixture this week, Crystal Palace, Burnley, Southampton, Sheffield United, and that continues to the end of the season, give or take. Actually, I don't know if it continues all the way to the end, but it continues for a few weeks after. And so that's my priority. But if I was just looking at like a Lundstrom or Soyuncu thing right now, I'd probably go Lundstrom, sort that out. Fucking get on Egan, get on Stevens, get on someone.
All right, yeah, but that's well discussed. Okay, we've gone through our thoughts, and we don't need to talk about Lundstrom anymore.
No, it's too hurtful, Seamus. You know.
Yeah, and the second part of his question there is what are our thoughts on Bergwijn or Bergwijn? I'm not sure how you pronounce it. And Bruno Fernandes debuts this week.
Yeah, I believe he phrased it with no doubt we've already covered Bergwijn and Bruno. I would like to thank you, Tom, but you are grossly overestimating our professionalism here as an FPL podcast.
Well, we do have other questions from other people about Bergwijn.
Oh, do
Not
we?
so much Bruno. Yeah.
Yeah, Bruno's an interesting one. Like, we haven't... whoa!
Nearly knocked the mic.
But, like, yeah, he's an interesting one. Since we last recorded, now he's a United player. That wasn't the case. It's kind of a little bit of the reason I went with Martial. I was kind of hoping that there's a bit of a bounce here. Maybe something clicks. Bit of a punt, you know.
Did you watch the game?
I watched the game as much as I ever do. And I actually stopped off. You know what I mean? Usually I have my stories about how I leave work and by the time I reach home, the little things happen at the end. I was so invested in the game, I actually just stopped straight off the pub after work. I went, I'm watching the end of this match here now. I'm going to have a pint and I want to see what the fuck happens. I thought it was a good enough game. I know, I mean, as a United fan, I was kind of just... I was interested in seeing how kind of Fernandes was fitting in. I think that's why I was watching. I was like kind of glued to that part of it. FPL-wise, no, not at all. Like, not for...
I think he could be.
He could be, for sure.
But not based on the last game he's playing very deep. He was basically playing where Matic would have been playing.
Yeah.
I don't think that's where he's going to be constantly playing. I think, you know, with Fred and Matic will be there, and when McTominay's back, those are the two holding midfielders, and he's going to be the more advanced, kind of playing where... I was going to say where Pogba should be playing. I don't know if it's where Pogba has been playing, but where Pereira or Mata...
Where Pogba
where Mata
like
was playing
play.
the last game.
Yeah,
almost
exactly.
in the 10 role. He definitely looks like he's comfortable on the ball. He moves it quickly. He seems to have an eye for a pass. Doesn't seem to be, you know, crippled with that fear that a lot of Man United players have from losing the ball by playing, you know, risky through balls and stuff like that.
Well, I mean,
he loves a shot.
How would you not have that fear when you've got Ole screaming at you from the sidelines?
Well, I'm glad to see him scream at Lingard because somebody needs to be screaming at Lingard.
I think everyone loves that. I think that bought him another 2 to 3 years.
Definitely bought another game or two in my eyes anyway, but I do subscribe to he is probably the worst manager we've had in the last...
An interesting kind of perspective on the whole... sorry to cut you across. Yeah, he is... Who you think Solskjaer is?
Yeah, I think he's probably a worse manager than Moyes was. And so if with that in mind, that means he's the worst manager we've had in 30 years.
Yeah, only time will tell. I think I'm not going to get bogged down to it because that's a whole fucking different podcast.
But he's won another couple of... at least 2 games more because of shouting at Lingard.
And if he could maybe hop a water bottle off Lingard's head at half time... that would buy him another couple of games.
You could do that thing that remember Mourinho did in the Europa League 2 seasons ago. He picked up the load of water bottles and he just smashed them on the ground.
But that was because he was happy.
The goddamn rock star.
Yeah, which we've yet to see from Ole, but I think only time, you know, will tell in that regard. But in fact, as far as Bruno goes, you know, I think you hit the nail on the head there. There could be more to come from him, but it's a big wait and see. I'm happy to... I mean, with United right now, no one's really dying to get in on him. I mean, this is coming from the guy who just transferred in Martial. So, I mean, like, I knew doing that I was kind of going against the fucking grain a little bit. Because I believe we might even have a question about getting out Martial in this week's Drunk Tank. But as far as Bruno and Bergwijn goes, Tom, I'd be looking at Bergwijn a lot more than I'd be looking at Bruno.
Yeah, I knew nothing about Steve Bergwijn before that game. And he was thrown straight in and scored a brilliant goal. He looked lively enough at the start. You know, he's getting around and he seemed to kind of not be involved so much then after a while. But Man City were just getting so on top. But that goal, man, the way he took it and then smashed it in before it even bounced, that's a quality finish. If he's got that in his locker, who knows? We want to monitor. He's still pricey, 7.5, but there's definitely a gap in the market around that price.
There is. That's the thing, and that's one of the issues when I, chose Martial this week. Because didn't know who else really I wanted to invest in. Like I knew the double Liverpool defense thing was kind of where I want to go long term, but I was like, for this week, kind of want a bit of an impact.
Yeah, that actually does bring us on quite nicely to the next question we have from FPL Rossi, where he has said he's struggling to find a decent replacement for Martial at his price point. It says it's early days yet, but what do you think of Bergwijn? That's so he's looking there as well. He doesn't want to double up on Wolves with Traore because he already has Jimenez and he has Grealish. So he's talking about the price point structure where you kind of go, right, well, I've got a 6 or 6.5 million midfielder. I also want a 7.5 to 8 million kind of midfielder. And I think that's a really good way to play it. So you can kind of move between assets. Whereas a lot of the guys in that 7.5 million to 8 million mark aren't performing right now. I'm talking like the likes of Maddison, Lucas Moura, and now Martial. I'm not convinced in Martial. So he's come off him just after, as you've come on him. Do you think that Martial, it might have been a mistake, or are you still happy to give him time?
I don't think he's come off him yet. I think he's looking to come off him.
Yeah, he's looking to come off him, I should say.
For me, like one of the issues from watching the Man United Wolves match is that they're basically playing Martial in a role that he's just like as a hold up kind of forward. Your traditional number 9. It's like you pump the ball up to him, he'll take it down, and everyone will kind of pass him out. And that's not his style. That's not the kind of game he plays.
Not only is it not his style, he doesn't want to play that.
No, that's what I mean.
You see the highlights in the game, and he's like constantly dropping out of there, and he's coming out to the left. He's coming outside the box, which is fine. But then he's helping get the ball into good positions. But then there's no one to cross it into because that's where he should be.
Yeah.
So,
but my only the big pro of Martial is that he is a 7.9 out of position player playing for a team trying to get to the fucking Champions League spots or whatever the fuck they're trying to do right now. But at least they have something they're aiming for, and he seems pretty undroppable. So for me, like, I'm willing to see out the Watford match. This week they've got an away match against Chelsea. They've beaten Chelsea 4-0 this season already. So Chelsea defensively, they're not much to write home about, if you ask me. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a chance he could do something. And then you've got a Watford match at home to Watford afterwards, who I know have tightened up a little bit, but if there's like a bunch of blanks up until that, then you've got Everton, City, Tottenham. Maybe I'd be looking at getting rid of him. But right now, as you said, James, this is a bit of a kind of...
there's not a whole lot in there. There's not a whole lot. I do think that Bergwijn could be a good option, but it's very hard to recommend a player when you've only seen one game. And he scored, but will he continue to score every week? Yeah,
definitely be giving him a bit of time just to see what Mourinho even plans on doing with this guy. Yeah. Like, I have a feeling that now that he scored, assuming that the little bit of cramp he went off with gets kind of shaken off, he'll start again because Mourinho tends to have his favourites. And this guy was transferred in the Mourinho era, so that's going to give him a plus anyway. But he's definitely a wait and see. But I just kind of wanted to touch on Rossi's question a bit, more specifically on the whole doubling up on Wolves thing, because you have doubled up on Wolves. You've got Traore and Jimenez, and he's kind of hesitant to do that. What are your thoughts on that? Because I'd be kind of more on Rossi's side here. Especially with Wolves kind of fixtures. I know they like playing against big teams, but Leicester and Spurs in the next 3, doubling up.
Yeah, it's risky. It was the one part of my wild card. If I could have found someone better than Traore in there, I would have liked to go on there. But like Rossi said, there's kind of a real dearth of midfield talent in there at the moment. Son is a player I think is kind of good as a third midfielder. Or fourth? Yeah, third midfielder. He's, if you make Grealish your fourth. But
I think anything above 5 doesn't matter.
Yeah, but Son is just couldn't reach for him. And I would say, look, if you can, Rossi, Son is a good option. Maybe you might try out Bergwijn for a while. The player I was considering for a while in there, but it's coming down in price, would be someone like Trossard for Brighton. But again, feels like a risk. Potter is rotating his team so much that he could just be benched one week.
Potter is rotating his team because Brighton are fucking floundering, man. And I like really Brighton, and I know they came back from a 2-0 deficit and drew 3-3 this week, and fair play to him. I do want him to do well, but it's not looking good, man.
No, it's not. But at least their fixtures aren't that bad.
Not the worst.
I mean, they've got 2 home games against Watford and Crystal Palace. Then they're away to Sheffield United and Wolves. Like, the away games are pretty tough. The home games are still not that tough. But if they are going to survive, they're going to have to pick up like 6 points out of those games.
Yeah, no.
So, I mean, if they do that, they got to score goals. Maybe they'll just get relegated. I don't know. But I think there's worse teams down there than them.
No, and I'm with you in terms of, as we said already, there is a bit of a gap in the market in that kind of price. Traore, what I like about him is that his price is just like, it's still less than 6 million.
Yeah.
Do you know? So I mean, I wouldn't have too much of an issue, especially if he was your fifth midfielder. I mean, with the whole Mane injury, it's very possible that he is someone's fifth. Is your
He's
fifth?
my fourth. I've got Hayden in there.
Oh, yes.
As soon as I went to Aguero, I could either have like Vardy and then have like Fleck as my fifth midfielder, or I said, you know what, I'm going to go Aguero and just bench Hayden.
Yeah.
Don't need him. He plays in game week 28 when our team blanks, so I just have him in there. And yeah, not worried about him. But I think Traore as a fourth isn't too bad. I'm happy to give him a run in the team if I play him 4 weeks in a row. The last time I doubled up on Wolves when I had Saiss and Jimenez, I also had Dendoncker in there. So I guess I tripled up, but I only was really playing 2. Like,
yeah, 2 or not.
Dendoncker was just nailed to my bench. Yeah, the last time I'd done that, and the last time other people went with Traore and Jimenez, they didn't really get a whole lot of joy out of it because they were he benched these players in the Man City fixtures. But I'm going to give it a go. I actually don't think it's that bad. I can understand the reluctance to do it, but Jimenez is a lock in my team.
Yeah.
He's just too good. So
I'll be straight with you, Rossi. If I was getting rid of Martial, I would be going with Traore far faster than I would be going with Bergwijn. Take his goal out of this weekend, Spurs were fucking shit. I mean, proper shit. I think I'd be a lot more worried. I mean, I know they beat Norwich 2-1 the week beforehand. Again, flattering. They could have lost that. Norwich could have won that. Dele Alli throwing a bit of a strop again when he was taken off this week. I wouldn't be surprised if Spurs, like, this Man City thing was more of a blip, and I would expect their previous run of form, i.e. conceding goals and maybe scraping the odd win, to continue. I don't think Spurs have turned a corner.
Yeah, and as you said, Martial could actually start doing better now. Especially if Matic comes back and Bruno Fernandes is playing a small bit further forward and they have a bit of time over the next winter break that's coming up.
But don't conflate Spurs being shit with Martial might do better because United are still pretty fucking shit right now.
Yeah, United are poor. But I'm saying that's zero. Like, that's no transfer. You could always just hold and just see how he does. He could score against Chelsea.
Yeah. I'd also like to, before we move off, just quickly point out the Graylish reference. I believe that's a nod to you, Seamus, and your refusal to learn English.
Oh, he actually said Graylish? I didn't even realise that.
Spelled it out properly.
Ugh. Yeah. There's another question from Didi, and this guy who's a big fan of ours, of our questions at least. Anyway, he likes asking questions the last few weeks.
I'm going to assume it's of the fucking podcast.
Yeah.
Not the questions. And it's at 70, or at Lefe78A.
Yeah.
Seamus, we got to market these people.
Well, yeah, okay. Fine. Okay. Well, he has asked, does anyone fancy Redmond for a few weeks? So, kind of going from that midfield kind of question, that slot, what do you think of Redmond?
I think, yeah, as you said, it kind of feeds in from the Martial thing. And again, maybe this is due to a kind of gap in the fucking midfield market at the moment. And Redmond, yeah, for me, Southampton, lovely run of fixtures. He's a nice punt, you know, that kind of way. Like, what's his ownership right now?
He's that price just below Martial. He's 6.2 in price. He's less than 1% owned. He's 0.9%. You know? But he did have an excellent game there against Crystal Palace in game week 24 where he got a goal and an assist. He's only got 3 goals for the season, but we've seen how he performed the back end of last season.
Yes.
He was really, really good, so he has it in his locker to turn it on for spells. And their fixtures are really good. And he was somebody I looked at in my wildcard team. I just preferred Traore, but every kind of wildcard team could do with having that one player in there who's just a bit of a wildcard, if you pardon the pun. But basically, yeah, that kind of risky player who could really bang or haul that no one's going to have. And I did consider, for a while going for him over that, but I think that would have just priced me out of Aguero by 0.1, so I didn't actually go for that in the end. As soon as I said I was going with Aguero, Redmond was out. I wouldn't back against him. Problem is, you have to have Ings, I feel like. So then you're backing double Southampton attack.
You love doubling up, Seamus.
Well, I've doubled up on Southampton defence. I've got McCarthy in goals.
You've doubled up in Southampton.
Yeah.
You've doubled up.
I've tripled up in Southampton because I have him, Stevens and Ings.
Doubled up in Sheffield. Doubled up in Liverpool. Doubled up in Wolves. If a fucking, I don't know, solar flare takes out half the British football team, you're fucked.
I'm going big or I'm going home. I'm kind of like choosing, nailing my colours to the mast, and I'm saying, these teams are good. All these other teams are shit.
Yeah.
I'm backing these guys.
It
worked out last week.
You don't want to nail your mast. That would be catastrophic for your sailing experience. Yeah. Oh, that's a different kind of mast. But I'd be with you, Seamus. I think I like it, Didi. I like where your fucking head is at in regards to Redmond. Bit of a punt, so you kind of know straight away, not to be expecting a massive ceiling or anything. If I didn't have Ings, I'd be looking at it a lot closer. If I did have Ings, I think that's about as much of the Southampton attacking options as I want. I would throw out Ward-Prowse there. I assume he's still getting his game. I haven't actually.
Yeah, he was playing right back in the last game, so he's like playing out of position.
Is he playing right back now?
He was playing right back because they've sold. The Suarez is on loan, and who's that guy they had last season?
Valerie.
Yeah.
Valerie.
Is he just like not an option anymore?
I think he's crazy young and he was kind of shit at the start of the year.
He was rubbish last season anyway. I mean, he was okay for spells, I suppose. But yeah, he was playing right back and he wore press. He's out of position.
But he does have the set piece fucking things. I'm just saying.
I'm not going to get him for penalties.
Well, now that you've had that Leffe or Didi just absolute shitting on Ward-Prowse, I think we're going to basically agree unanimously Redmond in your team, first thing you do when you hear this podcast.
Yeah, not a bad option.
No,
I kind of like it. I kind of want to see you do it because I want to hear how it goes for you, and I want to see you fly and get these massive return hauls, and then kind of go, you know what, those guys in the Hangover pod recommended him, or at least gave him the thumbs up, seal of approval. I have another 2 questions here. Quick one here from the FPL Daily Llama, and he has asked, how did this week's ECL head-to-head go for you, Jer?
Yeah, another shameless fucking self-promotion in our drunk tank this week.
Yeah.
I was actually playing Daily Llama in the FPL Elite or Elite FPL Champions League.
You don't say.
Yeah, I don't say.
And he hasn't checked the score. He's just.
I think he's just randomly asking. No, he did. He beat me. He took the 3 points this week. He had a score of 68 and I had 55.
Nice.
So
there was some. The one thing in that question that I didn't mention was some of the emoticon smiley faces, winky faces that he put in there.
He knew full well what he was doing when he submitted that question. Yeah, he won. Fair play to him. It hasn't been a great start for me. I think there's been 5 matches. I've won 2, lost 3. So yeah, it's still all to play for.
The last couple of games I think you've lost, have you?
I've lost the last 2 and I won the one before. But look, it's all to play for. I'm having tremendous fun, at least for now, until I get booted out of the competition, and then I'm going to rain a whole bunch of slurs down on top of this FPL Elite Champions League. So I
like the format. I like the look of it.
A lot of fucking work put in.
Check that on the Daily Llamas page on Twitter.
And I would like to wish Daily Llama a happy Burns night as well. I believe that's the thing, isn't it? A Scottish thing.
Maybe.
Burns night was during the week, and he's a Scottish lad. So happy Burns night to you. Next question. Don't let me dwell on this shit too long.
He also said, keep doing what you're doing, lads. So, okay. He must be...
he must be talking to me.
He must be, yeah. Maybe he's saying keep doing what you're doing as in keep losing to me in the Champions League.
I think he means keep knocking it out of the park.
Yeah, I think so.
Podcasts, yeah.
Thank you, Daily Llama. And, last question then comes from Liam, who's at SpursLiam7. He's asking our thoughts on Jared Brown and Igalo. Obviously, Igalo, they're both signed for 6.5. Igalo playing for United, of course, and Jared Bowen recently signed by West Ham from Hull City. I know nothing about this guy. I had to look him up just to find out. He's got a great goal scoring record for Hull the last couple of seasons. Young fella from by all accounts, I should say. Came for decent money. And
see,
6.5.
I'd be with you. Like prior to the transfer, never heard of the chap, but it does give us a great excuse to talk about how shit West Ham are looking and how shit their fixtures look. So I don't give a fuck if they've just signed Mbappe. City away, Liverpool away, home to Southampton, a revived Southampton, away to Arsenal, and then home to Wolves, and that's just the next 5. It doesn't really look a whole lot better between there and the end of the season.
No, after that they still have like Spurs and Chelsea.
It just gets shitter and shitter, and the talk amongst the West Ham fans is that they feel like they're down already. Their heads are dropped. They know that between now and the end of the season, it's just one big fucking pile of shit that they have to eat nearly every week.
Yeah.
So as far as Jared Bowen goes, I wouldn't touch him with yours. Yeah, but
what's wrong with mine?
I just said I wouldn't even touch him with
your wild card.
Igalo,
I literally wouldn't touch him just in case.
Just in case.
Coming from China and all that.
Yeah, that Corona thing might still be on his bag. Not a nice ball bag. His gear bag.
Somebody coughed in his gear bag. Yeah. You never know.
No, 6.5, good price. But we'd have to see. He hasn't even played a game for United yet. So big wait and see with that lad. I'd really love if he reeled back the years a little bit and started. I mean, not just because I'm a United fan, but as an FPL player, I would like to see a strange return from him, because it's not something I ever expected, as we already said. But they're two big fat wait and sees.
Yeah, unless he's playing centre forward and he's starting, and Martial is kind of pushed out to the left, where in the kind of position Rashford was playing and where Martial has played in the past.
Which is what I assume they want to do.
If he does something like that, that might interest me in Martial more.
Yeah,
which is kind of because it's kind of a bit of an inverse, because then all of a sudden he's a midfielder playing as a midfielder more so, but it's kind of a position he works well at, running into the box, attacking the box. And Igalo might interest me then, but I don't see him starting.
Well, Martial would interest you more than you were saying.
Yeah, Martial would probably still interest me more, because there's so many good forward options. I mean, what am I going to just ignore Jimenez, Ings, Aguero, Aubameyang, Vardy, all these guys to get Igalo?
I'd be looking.
So no interest in Igalo. I think even if he started and was scoring goals, I wouldn't be interested in. Not with the other options.
I'd be looking at the knock-on effect that Igalo would have on United in general. Does that mean Fernandes is getting assists? Does that mean Martial is getting goals or looking more attacking? But in terms of himself, no. As you said, Seamus, there are a lot of options, strikers about 6.5.
Jared Bowen is interesting because he's a midfielder, and there's a real dearth of midfield options here at the moment that are useful.
You said dart. Are you trying to say dirt? Second time we've done it now in this podcast.
I say Darth. Dearth.
Is that the word, Darth? I've been saying Darth the whole time. Dirth.
Darth.
We'll come back next
I don't know.
episode.
We say 3 instead of 3.
Yeah, but that's more of a ridiculously cute, Irish
colloquialism,
fucking habit.
Mannerism. Yeah, I don't know.
We're gonna have to look into this one later on as well.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how it's pronounced. I'm sure I've pronounced it both ways.
I left the first one go like half an hour ago, but I was like, I can't let the second one go.
I like how it flowed off my tongue earlier, so I said I was going to say it again. There is a real dearth of midfield options here. So an addition of a noob guy for 6.5 who could be scoring goals could be good. I mean, to be honest, West Ham are going to have to pick up a couple of wins here or else getting relegated. And we know that West Ham can actually score goals, and can beat big teams.
Yeah, I think it is dearth. It's a Dearth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
So you're saying dart. So I've saved you there.
Could be dearth.
This could be way worse. You could have recorded this live on a podcast and it could be in people's ears right now.
Okay, well, I'm not the one stopping a podcast. I'll totally discuss the pronunciation of
I'll totally edit this out, Seamus. You should be able to live.
You shouldn't. No, you should call me on my shit mid-pod.
Well, as I said, it was the second one. I just didn't know how much more this would happen. I was like, if he does a third or fourth, it's even worse if I call him on the fourth one.
Fourth or firth?
Yeah. Fart.
God, I hate you sometimes. Jared Bowen, I'm not touching. I'm not touching a West Ham player. As I said, the fixtures are too bad, and when they're struggling, you don't know what Moyes is going to do. He could be introduced slowly, and I haven't seen him. If I'd seen him and saw him ripping up the Championship, I could be like, oh yeah, I want to get on this guy. I don't know anything about him. I had to look up who he was. So.
I think the second part of his question is my favourite.
Oh, I nearly missed that one. I was just about to say that is a drunk tank. But no, his second part of his question is, sum up your FPL season so far in one word.
Boom. Favourite question of the week.
Yeah, definitely. And a real head scratcher. I was thinking about this in work all day.
Really?
Well, I was thinking about it. Couldn't come up with a decent word. Then I came back to, it was kind of constantly coming back to it between tasks and work. Like, what am I going to be saying? And I went with slow. Very slow start to my season, slow progress. Now it's getting there and getting a bit of momentum now. It's about time, but yeah, it was a slow burn, slow burning season. Needed patience. So I'm going to go with the word slow.
Fair enough. It took you all day to come up with that. I came up with mine instantly. Jabberwocky.
Oh, okay.
I think that's self-explanatory. I don't think we need to go into that any further. Summing up the 2019-2020 season.
Be a waste of time.
For, Jabberwocky. There you go. So that rounds out the drunk tank. Seamus, I think it's about time we paid attention to the FPL Hangover podcast mini league. Mm-hmm. How's that been going?
Yeah, it's been going good. We didn't mention it last week because it was mid-game week. The Liverpool game hadn't finished. But I am proud to announce the movers and shakers of the top 5 this week. Starting at 5th, we've got Christian Arstad. And I can't laugh at somebody's name.
That's ridiculous. Go on.
Number 4, we've got Anthony Clark.
Oh, wait. Sorry to interrupt. I just realised I'm pouring it. So sip a beer to all of the mini leaguers. But in relation to Daily Lama's question, I'm drinking wine in his honour tonight. It's alpaca wine. You're welcome. Very, very expensive. Everyone says it's the best. Thank you for Daily Lama. But sorry, go back to Arstad.
In 5th is Christian Arstad.
Go on.
Yeah,
it's not a real name. It's not a real name, Seamus.
It is. Apologies, Christian. In 4th, we've got Anthony Clark. Nothing funny about that name.
Nothing funny about that.
In 3rd, we have Connor Kelly, who was actually 2nd last week, and he's fallen down to 3rd. David Sexton, former number 1, has started flying back up the ranks again here, and he's up to 3rd. And in number 1, we have the ever-present there for the last number of weeks, Luke Burgess. He's still killing it. I meant to look up, see how his OR is doing this week, but he got 77 points this week.
Oh, he's the same as you.
He's the same as me, and he's already having a good season. He's still getting 77 points.
That's what's mental. It's like when, as you said, already having a fantastic season, and on a week like this, you wildcard.
He didn't wildcard.
Yes, but he just fucking baited out of there. Yeah. Fair play to him.
Yeah, wanker.
Yeah, absolute ball bag.
No, fair play. He's having an unbelievable season. He's within touching distance of having like a double digit or triple digit kind of finish to the season. But
you're going to bar him from next year's. It's like, no, Luke, you can join the championship version. Yeah.
But while he may be number 1 with 79 points, Rich Pannons and Sergeant Major Sherlock Candy are this week's Manager of the Week. Yes, they both had amazing game weeks, 79 points, 2 more than me. I was nearly in there, Jar. Yeah. Someday I'm going to be able to call myself Manager of the Week. But not yet.
That's a long way away.
Rich Pannons did it. They both, Captain Salah, obviously. Rich Pannons got there with Snodgrass, 18 points, and he also had Chilwell, who scored.
Probably the remnants of the double game week, because the whole Snodgrass, you're going.
True.
Yeah.
But Sherlock Candy had Mina.
Who got 2 goals.
Yeah, Mina got 2 goals.
Mina getting 2 this week. Fucking Bollocks Chops Rudiger.
Yeah, Bollocks Chops.
Yeah, he got 2 this week as well.
Yeah. So both those, and Sergeant Major Sherlock Candy was like rooted to the bottom of our league for quite a while, but in the last 3 or 4 game weeks he's been rocking up. So fair play to him.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Yeah,
and Manager of the Week.
Manager of the Week, and just while we're here, okay, talking about some of the guys in our mini league, I want to give a big thank you to everyone who has sponsored me and. For a run I'm doing for the 2 great charities in Limerick, Limerick Animal Welfare and Limerick Feral Cats. So I'm running the Limerick Marathon in May this year.
The Great Limerick Run!
Yes, well, it's going to be great when I do it anyway, because I'm going to be straight into the pub afterwards. I'm off the beer until then.
But that's your goal, is like
that's my goal. Get to the marathon and then slurp all the beers.
And then have someone over the finish line with like a whole rake of Guinness. Yeah. Just pouring it down your gullet.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you win that German Cup, you get that big mad tanker of beer.
The next scene would be you rushed to hospital after running a marathon.
Running to hospital.
Hospital, puking up Guinness as you go back.
So I want to give a big thank you to the guys here, and a big thank you to FPL Chieftain, who basically this week donated his FPL score in points in euros.
He's probably second.
Yeah, and he actually had a good week.
Green arrow.
He had a big green arrow. He scored 65 points, so that's 65 euros towards the fund there. The GoFundMe page I've set up, which you will find on our page.
Pinned to the top.
Yep.
Of your page.
It's pinned to the top of my page at FPL Drunk. It's also been shared on our page there. I'll be continuously sharing it. So thank you, Chieftain. Also to David Sexton, Dahi Sexton, who's second in our mini league. As mentioned there a minute ago. Yeah, he had a very generous donation too. Other thanks go to Cian Cronin, Tom Ariarty, Paddy Brown, who's the FPL King, Cathal Byrne, who's FPL Crypto.
Did he donate in cash or in Bitcoin?
No, he donated in cash. Yeah,
it's good to see that he's still in touch with the comment man.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, he's not. I don't know if GoFundMe accepts Bitcoin. We must get onto them about that because we might get more donations from Cathal then.
Don't think that's how it works.
We also had I also had donations from David Small and Drew, both guys from the Renegades. Willie and Drew, sound lads, and guys, really appreciate that. Every little helps, and incredibly kind of you all to help with my cause there. Like, I've got donations from these guys. My parents still haven't even fucking donated to me.
I haven't even donated.
I gotta go out home and I gotta start going around with the tin can, the troca can, and go, come on lads, get it in there.
It's all for the cats.
Yeah, but it's not until May, so there's plenty of time. But thanks for everyone who's donated already. And training.
You were already at your nearly at your target, and it's not even fucking the end of January.
I just set a target of like 300 minutes.
Can you move that up once it gets to 3?
Yes,
you can go, my target was almost 6.
Yeah. Well, I was hoping to raise about 500, but I didn't want to put in 500 straight off the bat. But like halfway there already. But continuously looking for stuff like that because it's going to 2 great causes.
It is two great causes, and anything to fund you to run around Limerick for the day. I think that's a worthy cause.
Yeah, if you just think about it, like 3.5 hours of running, it's going to be
followed by a feed of points. You're not even going to want to drink afterwards.
Oh, trust me, I will.
Oh, trust me.
I'll want to. First thing I'm going to do is get a boojum. A big massive burrito.
Stop fucking promoting these restaurants, Seamus, who have yet to drop a goddamn dime for us, okay?
Yeah.
But I'm with you, and you've just kind of made me a little hungry. Wouldn't mind a burrito right now. But moving on, I think that's the
that's
the mini league done.
That's the mini league done. So that means there's only one thing left to do.
Oh yeah, it's balls to the wall.
Start with last week's score.
Don't we always?
Yeah, we'll start with last week's score. Okay, you're ahead. I'm just going to put it out there now.
Just gonna get this out of the way.
Yeah. No. You've won last week's hot shots. So you're ahead with the hot shots. Because you had first pick, you prick. And you picked Salah.
Obvious.
Amazing score.
Easy one. And I was a little... I didn't actually want to pick him last week because it was so obvious. I was like, fine. It's my first
kind
pick.
of the same this week with me. You'll see that he's also my first pick this week. But my picks, Aguero and Aubameyang, who both... I was sure both of them would do well this week. Both blanked. Both actually had great chances to score. Aguero especially. Aubameyang had a couple of chances, but Burnley actually proved to be quite tough. Couldn't say the same about Spurs. They would just left the back door open all the time. And
Aguero should have scored against Spurs. I mean, to be fair, Aubameyang actually had a couple of chances. It was one of those performances, and I know we didn't really break down Aubameyang too much, but this is the beauty of Balls to the Wall, is that, like, I was watching it. Obviously, I'm fucking glued to Aubameyang because he's the biggest differential between you and me right now. Do you have that one that I'm sure is a gif by now of him absolutely fucking fluffing that shot that he... I don't know what he was trying, but he was trying to stick it in the top right corner, ended up just like knocking it straight. It was a real fucking... No,
I don't think I've seen it. I saw his header, which was close, and I saw another
that was
chance,
his closest one. But the one I'm referencing, it was kind of shortly after he had another chance that would have been offside. This one, similar enough, kind of breaks the line and takes it down. And you're thinking he's going to have a shot. He just completely scuffs it and just drives it straight. But he was unmarked, and my point being, I wasn't disheartened. I was by Aubameyang. I was disheartened by Arsenal being so fucking mediocre. Yeah. But the Aubameyang Aguero conundrum, that's far from decided this week.
No. But that's why I went to Aguero last week, was because the team that Aubameyang plays on, not because of the player, because he's a great player. But I just not convinced that everyone thinking Arteta is the new Messiah is necessarily correct just yet.
Yeah, either way, I mean, Arsenal are playing better football than they were under Emery.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I mean, Arteta has a lot to prove.
But a man who isn't playing better football was your second pick, Antonio Martial.
No.
Yeah, so blank there for him. So you won 18-4. Props to you. And I think I've written down here, I think that puts you 12-11 ahead now at the moment on the
Smashing it. So
Yeah, you're
absolutely
12-11.
hammering it.
That puts you back in the lead. We were level before that. Puck Fada was a tie. I went with Fleck. You went with Almiron. Both got 3 points. Clean sheet, no attacking points. Yeah.
I was really hoping you had a player that only got 2 this week because I knew Amaran got 3, but of course I couldn't remember your pick. So
Yeah.
I was going, who the fuck's
Green
that?
sheets, you went with Cahill. I tried to convince you to go for Tompkins.
Did it make a difference?
No, it didn't make a difference. Tompkins had a good chance to score at one stage, but he didn't. I went with Lascelles. I backed Newcastle, and that came true. So, Puck Fadas, you're ahead in the Puck Fadas too. You're 11-9 ahead in the Puck Fadas. There's been a few draws in that now. Green sheets, I'm ahead on that 10-6. So,
But it's really all just about hot shots.
It's really about hot shots and Puck Fadas. I know green sheets. I'm good at the green sheets. I can nail the green sheets. But it's the Puck Fadas and the hot shots that are the real. At least it's closer this year.
It is closer this year, but
I need to pull back another couple of Puck Fadas, I think.
Yeah, maybe if you go ahead in the Puck Fadas hot shots, I'll go back ahead of the mini league.
Yeah,
ahead of you. But this week, Seamus gave me 26.
Yeah.
I had first pick.
No, I had first pick, and basically I went with Salah.
Yeah,
the man scored 16 points in each of the last 2 game weeks.
I was actually surprised you didn't go with my first pick, which was Aguero. I thought, you're surely going to captain Aguero against West Ham, no?
No, I'm not necessarily going to. I'm probably going to captain Salah. I think both have a small chance of being rested with Champions League.
Well, City have their fixture a full week before the Champions League match.
Oh,
so the Champions League match is on the 17th, and they play on the 12th.
But this does scream of a match where basically he might start Jesus.
Yeah,
they should be hammering West Ham. Now, I do think he will start.
He'll definitely feature.
When I made my decision in my wild card to get Aguero, I did look and go, wait, there's a winter break, so he probably is going to start. But you never know with Pep. One thing that makes me feel more confident now is he was taken off after 60 minutes in the Spurs game, so he's got a bit more rest. And Jesus didn't really look too sharp when he came on. So
yeah, but that was more of a tactical red card decision, and I don't know how many games he. I mean, I hate to be digging up old fucking graves here, but I still don't believe that Guardiola likes Aguero. I think he just has been forced to recognize that Aguero is their best striker and the best striker in the league.
None of us like Pep, so he can go do one.
I like Pep. He's a character in himself. Who else is like him?
Hate Pep.
Why?
Did you ever hear him being interviewed?
Yes, I have.
They ask him, okay, what do you think of that? He just says the same fucking things every week. He just goes on and he's like, we create chance after chance, blah, blah. Yeah, but you lost again,
But you could do
were
that.
you disappointed in your players? Like, no. He's so defensive and he just doesn't answer any questions. He's a boring bastard. He's great manager. I just hate listening to him interview. He actually makes me angry. He actually makes me start throwing stuff around the room.
He does not make you start throwing things around. You're not allowed to throw things around the room anymore. No,
my wife won't allow me to.
Yeah.
But he's just a very frustrating manager, and he's a fucking bad loser. So that's why I don't like him. And he's always benching good players. Like Mahrez does really great, and he drops him out of the team for a while. Aguero, he plays reluctantly. So I went with Salah, and the other reason why is I was like, Gerald probably go Aguero. But that was fine. Then whoever he goes with, Aguero or KDB, I can have the other one. So I said I'd let you make the decision.
Yeah, I went Aguero, and then I had the third pick, so I also went with Aubameyang. And
my picks from last week.
Yeah, pretty much your exact picks. I'm hoping that they can't surely both blank.
They neither one blank 2 games.
Yeah, hopefully not. So I think at home against Newcastle, who will probably be my captain is Aubameyang. A bit of a weird one. I know I'm not entirely convinced. But right now, it's feeling like I gotta make some changes to my style of play. So Aguero and Aubameyang are my 2 picks. Who was your 4 pick? You kind of said it there. KDB, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the game is against West Ham. You'd expect a lot. KDB's been very good at home this season. So, yeah, expect him to put him to the sword and get a bit of reaction. And
do you think he's a fair captain shout this week, KDB?
Yeah, I mean, anyone from Man City, like KDB or Aguero, I wouldn't say it's a bad shout. But, I mean, when Salah is playing Norwich at home, you're thinking, and they've just had a week off, he's going to be rested. He doesn't need to be rested again in preparation. If anything, they need to be kind of match sharp for that Atletico Madrid game midweek a few days later.
I think it depends on Mane. if Mane starts that match, I think Salah doesn't start that match, and Salah comes on and Mane goes off.
Well, I think Mane definitely plays. I think they both start, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think he plays. Right. I think he plays his strongest team, but they could be coming off early, possibly, assuming they're ahead against Norwich.
That's fair enough. I think it's enough armchair managing from us.
Yeah. We're trying to predict the future. There's no point getting too bogged down on it. So moving on there. There's our hot shots. Puck Vadas, you'd first pick this time.
Yeah, and I've gone with the man that Rossi alluded to. I believe it was Rossi. Was it Rossi? Bergwijn? Yeah. I think fucking Tom also suggested Bergwijn. He's making waves. He's played one match. He's got one goal, 7.5. He is 0.5% owned. So your absolute puck fodder. I think fuck it. See what Spurs can do. They have an away match against Villa. Villa defensively, man, if Bournemouth are scoring against them, I don't doubt that Spurs will score against Villa. I just wonder if Spurs will score enough. That's my question in that.
We're watching that. That'd be a good game to watch.
I think so.
We'll probably watch every game this game week, full 90. Well, not in every game, but like the games are so spread out that there's each game is on at a time. Every game is televised on BT or Sky.
Yeah.
So
every single game,
because there's no 2 games starting off. There's no 5 games kicking off at 3:00.
I get you, yeah.
Yeah, there's
the options.
There's a morning Saturday game, and then there's an evening Saturday game. Then there's a morning Sunday game and an afternoon Sunday game kind of thing.
So we've no excuse then for not having seen all the matches next episode.
I'm going to be watching a good few of them. I'll probably skip next Saturday's ones. Next Saturday's ones are stupid ones. They're like Crystal Palace versus fucking, I don't know, who are they against? Crystal Palace versus Everton, kind of ones like that. I'm like, ugh, we're going to 0-0, 1-1 game. Probably miss it, but
I've
probably
gone
just do it. Yeah, Bergwijn. I've gone Martinelli against Newcastle.
Yeah.
He's looked good, Martinelli, and Lacazette didn't have a great game the last time. With Lacazette up front, Martinelli was playing on the left with Aubameyang out. Aubameyang came back and kind of played on the right. Now I didn't really see advanced highlights of the match. I've heard they were swapping back over and back and forth.
They were. By the end, Aubameyang was playing through the middle and Pepe was on the right.
Yeah. So I think Lacazette could be the most likely to be dropped, even ahead of Martinelli. Martinelli could easily be dropped. This is why he's a puck fodder. Yeah. He's less than 4% on 3.7%. He's only 4.6.
More than I thought.
Yeah, he scored. Did he score 2 weeks in a row or just one?
Something. It was. I don't know if it was 2 weeks in a row, but either way, he pulled back some returns, and as you said, 4.6 is crazy cheap.
Yeah, he didn't do anything in game week 25. He definitely scored in game week 24. I think he could score against Newcastle, and I think he could push out one of Pepe or Lacazette in the team going forward.
Pepe's already pushed out, and as you said, I think on form it should be maybe Lacazette that's dropped. The only thing I would say is that it's just not. You're just not guaranteed. He could easily start Pepe, play Aubameyang on the left, and play Lacazette through the middle once again. Time will only tell. That's our puck follows and our Breen sheet and our fucking hot shots. Breen sheet time.
Yeah, Egan. The guy I brought in to replace Lundstrom.
Yeah.
Back in Sheffield United, home against Bournemouth. Doesn't get much better than that.
It's
only 4.5.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Against Bournemouth, it doesn't get a whole lot better. I think the only fixture there, with the exception of maybe the Arsenal-Newcastle match, is Southampton-Burnley, and I've gone ahead and backed McCarthy. Will you be starting McCarthy this week? That's an interesting question.
No, I'm going to be starting Henderson.
I'm
going to double up again. Yeah. It is a tough one this week, so I'm not playing either of my Southampton defenders. McCarthy is going to be obviously my sub keeper, and Stevens is going to be my first sub. So if Traore is out, I'll play Stevens.
Yeah, I get you.
I'd like to play him, but look, Burnley have been very resilient lately, and Woods has been on fire. So I do think that there is every chance that Burnley could trouble Southampton. So yeah, but it could be 0-0 or something like that.
I think Southampton have been very, very good defensively in terms of just, midfield back, very tight. And Burnley, Chris Wood has been, kind of doing bits and bobs. I think they'll struggle. But that's obviously why I've gone with McCarthy. Yeah. So I'm sure I'm wrong.
I've watched this. I've been watching all season. I just think Sheffield United are a better defence than Southampton, even though Southampton have improved. And I think it's just time to this time of the season, just do your backing and just kind of go, I like to spread the risk
Yeah.
I'm
You're
a
not
terror for that.
spreading the risk at all. You're doubling down.
No, but what I'm saying, I generally I like to spread the risk throughout the season, so I'm kind of like, I never double up on players and defenders and things like that. You'll notice that's what I'm doing right now. I'm being aggressive. I'm being aggressive this time of the season. I'm like, no, fuck it. I'm going to back Liverpool. I'm going to go double Liverpool. I'm going to back Sheffield United. I'm going to go double Sheffield United. And I hope it works.
I do not hope it works. But I guess we can draw it to a close right there. There is our balls to the wall. I suppose we'll wrap it all up. We've done all of the things we need to do. Before I leave you, I will just say that with the winter break, we're not going to record next week. Doesn't seem to be much point at all. There's a whole week of nonsense going on in the middle. So we're basically going to come back the week after it, and then we'll be able to hit you up on a full Game Week 26 review and prepare for Game Week 27. I would like to thank you all for listening. If you want to reach out to us, you can send us an email at fplhangover@gmail.com. More successfully, I suppose, would be the Twitter route, which is at FPL Hangover. Seamus, you're also on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm at FPL Drunk.
Yes, so you can... Again, just, bombard him with whatever you wish. Thanks for listening again, guys. I wish you all a happy winter break and a happy Game Week 26.
May your Aries be green, guys.
God bless.